It's not good. Oh, hello everyone. Let's do that. Oh no, don't do that. Well, if we're live, we've got no one's watching. There we go. Oh. And well, hang on a second. There we go. G'day everyone. Thanks for joining us. Hopefully we haven't got too much feedback. If there is, please let me know. I haven't quite just threw this together. And g'day Lee. Thanks for being here, Lee from First Floor Audio. Yeah, well, congratulations to myself as I've ticked over the 500 subscribers mark, 501 actually, as you can see. Thanks everyone for being here and giving me the support you have over the period of time that you guys have been here. I really do appreciate it. And yeah, I got myself a little mixed up here because I've got a new computer for the shed and it hasn't quite got the same inputs as the old one. So I'm routing the audio through the old one, which is to the left of me, and using the camera on the new one. Now I can, let me just, yeah. So the old one to the left of me has got a real grainy screen, and that's probably because I'm using both on Wi-Fi here. In fact, the old one's got a full Wi-Fi signal. This one hasn't quite got a full Wi-Fi signal. Go figure. And there's a few other things that I'm not quite familiar with this new one. So I'll. So what I can do is just show you another view. That's coming from the old computer, which is on the left. And I'll bring in another one. So that camera there is sitting up behind me on the bench. If we go back to the other views, you can see that camera sitting up on the tailstock of the lathe, which is just up there. That's the other camera. It's pointing down onto the lathe. I gave it a clean up the other day, and we'll go back to this view. God, that's echoey. Yeah, so I gave that a clean up the other day. It's all plugged in. There's power to it. All the power's done in the shed now, thankfully. Yeah, you can see the other hand waving. And that echo is really annoying. I've got to find another way of rerouting audio into the show and using this as my main computer. So apologies if you're getting any sort of audio. Let me know if you are. If we're not, I'll just keep going on. Yeah, so I'm pretty well got things sorted in here. There's a bit going on still in terms of stuff happening at home, so I haven't really been doing. We have been doing stuff up here in the shed, but it's for other purposes, it's after this weekend, I'm going to start seriously working, doing stuff. Getting back into doing stuff, using the bench, using the lathe, getting other cameras set up. So I've got another camera I can use for audio and for visual. So essentially, with the old computer, 2 other cameras. I mean, I can even hook in my mobile phone to give me at least 5, and I've got a switcher here, HDMI switcher that takes 4 inputs, and so there's countless number of inputs I can have. I just got to get the cameras set up in the right way, the way that I want them. For instance, getting a camera set up so when I'm on the lathe, I can show a shot not just from behind, but maybe overhead or, from a different angle. However, as you can see, I'll bring up, hang on, let's change this around. In this view here, let me go back here. And in this view here, you can see this arm here, which holds a light. Now, that light, unfortunately, gets in the way of where I want to put the camera so I can show you what I'm machining. And it's a bit of a pain in the bum. So I just have to play around with the camera sets. Get that right. I just have to play around with the camera setups to make sure things are where I want them to be. So that when I'm doing something, or if I'm going to record something, I'm going to be able to give you a good view and not something that's in the way and you won't be able to see what I'm doing. G'day to Mr. Funkin' Hungry. He's got his nice pink background there. That stands out. G'day, G. Thanks for being here, mate. Yeah, Sid Squad. Yep. Yeah, I'll get on Sid Squad and beg for some more subs. So we are celebrating, a little bit of a celebration tonight, 501 subscribers. I just looked there before, as we can see in the little ticker down below. I was quite stoked to see that. I was quite stoked when Roger said to me the other night that I was up to 499, and I was really surprised because for a while there I was 496, and for big channels, that it seems like miles away. And thank you, G. I do appreciate the support that you guys, yourself and Paul and Roger and Lee from First Floor Audio and everyone else who comes in and has supported me on this journey. I never thought that I'd be sitting in here in front of a computer and talking to people all around the world. And obviously, some of you I've never met. However, one day that may happen. So I just do apologise again, guys, if you can hear a bit of audio feedback. Like I said, I'm still getting this set up, sorted out, but it's getting there slowly. Onwards and upwards. What am I going to do at 500 subscribers? I can put all the paperwork in and go down the route of what the infamous Funk and Hungry has done here, and go for monetization and so on and so forth. At this stage, I'm not ready to do that. I want to get this sorted out a bit more. Plus, not being monetized can also help reduce the possibility of having an ad during the break. And look who we got. We've got Shed Dog. A special sneaky viewing from Shed Dog. Hang on. Baby girl, come here. Come on. I'll get her to come on camera. Come on, you're a bit shy, are you? Hey, everyone wants to see you. Here you are. Look. Yes. Good old Shed Dog. Hey, she's, come here. Come on. Everyone wants to say hello. They can see your tail, but come back here. Yeah. Of course, Stylesy. And what have we got here from Funk and Hungry? Shed Dog, yeah. Yeah, she's having a good old sniff, giving the old Funk and Hungry sniff. Bit of carpet just over there that's going to be used. And yeah. Well, thank you, Roger. We're all legends in the round table of yourself. You're the King Prawn and King Pirate and whatever else you're king of your kingdom. And the dojo too. I'm sure you're the king of the dojo down there as well. But yeah, look, I haven't got that much to talk about except Shed Dog again in the other view. Woohoo! She's checking out that old bit of carpet. Roger, man, you'd be better off just driving. Oh. Test 1, 2. Damn it. How about now, guys? We've got audio. Can you hear me? Yeah. Oh, righto. Roger, can you untime Emma, please? Emma's a friend. Righto. Hang on a second. Righto. Let's get rid of that. Right. What the hell went wrong there? Yeah, sorry, Lee. Righto. Try that. Hopefully, echo cancellation's on. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Righto. So, well, I totally screwed everything up. All right. Here's the link. Let's just shoot the crap or shoot the whatever. There's a link. If anyone wants to jump in, yeah. Hopefully, you've untimed Emma, please, Roger. Emma's been on the show before, and yeah. Thanks, G. I'll get this sooner or later. I'll get it down pat. I might even start doing recordings like you do. Mind you, oh, not again. Righto, should have audio now. What the frig's going on here? It was fully charged. Well, I'm having a good one, guys. The audio's really playing up on me tonight, so I don't know why. So we're just going to go with just with what's here. Annoying. Right. I don't know. Can you hear me all right? Oh, there's Emma. I'll bring Emma in. Righto. G'day, Emma. How are you?
Hey, how are you?
Right. I think one of the guys might have accidentally timed you out for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, guilty. It wasn't me.
That's all right. It's all good.
Probably did it though.
Thanks for being here. Little bit of a milestone tonight. 500, just ticked over the 500 subscriber mark. So, woohoo!
Well, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it is actually. A lot of these guys in the chat that you see regularly been a big help, and yeah, I was hoping tonight was going to go a lot better than what it did, but it just didn't seem to. I didn't have me shit together. So anyway, we're here now. How did the road run go?
Oh my gosh, I'm so tired.
You should be over it by now, shouldn't you?
We did about 50 something kilometres
Right. Now,
over
I'll
3 days.
I'll just explain to everyone in the chat here that Emma owns a steamroller like me. However, Emma's steamroller is actually operational, fully operational. And you did a road run on the weekend of about 50 kilometres. Now, for a steamroller, that's a bloody long way. What speed did you get to, or what was your maximum what was your cruising speed?
The thing's good till about probably we got to about 14 kilometres an hour.
Right.
That's pushing it a bit and
Yep.
a bit slower on the hills.
Yep.
We did tend to work it a bit on the hills. We didn't have to pull up anywhere halfway up or anything
Yep.
like that.
Yeah.
We were a bit conscious about driving technique, sort of making a bit of an effort to get right through without too many stupid waiting for water or anything like that. And we did, even when running on town water, which is traditionally in Cootes Crossing is not good.
Yeah.
This time we did really well. So we got through pretty fantastic, actually, but no great problems, no drop plugs, no broken front ends, no, all that horror story stuff, none of that.
Yeah. That's, hang on. I keep getting this wrong.
14 kilometres is getting along in a roller. It's getting pretty easy. We did. Ian Mills gave us a ice cream container wrapped up in 3 plastic shopping bags of Crater grease.
Right.
Which got out at some point before we could use it, and we had to sort of reclaim it.
Right.
That's pretty awful stuff, but on the gears it's quieting everything down remarkably. So that makes 14 kilometres a...
So the link I've just put in the chat now is to your latest video, and it'll give you an idea of...
oh, yeah, I'll put a video up.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. And I've just put that in the chat now, so if anyone in the chat wants to go and have a look at that video, you can see what we're talking about. And how'd you go with the noise? Did you wear earplugs or ear muffs? Or
it wasn't terrible, really.
Brad, 14 kilometres an hour is pretty fast for a steamroller, to tell you the truth. If you've ever been on one, or if you've ever seen one going along, then you'll understand what we're talking about.
And that's just on the Speedo on the Land Rover. We didn't test anything really, and it didn't measure anything properly, but we did pretty well. We had a good weekend. It was a pretty full weekend. Friday we did the first 6 kilometres, which is dirt road, and then probably another 6 or 8 just for the fun of it.
Yep.
And returned, and then back Saturday we went into town and did 2 or 3 laps around town. There's a very good loop around Cootes Crossing that's got some fairly significant steep hills on it.
Mm-hmm.
Which was pretty good to do. And Sunday we drove it back and pulled it apart for boiler inspections.
Yeah. We've got boiler inspections coming up too soon, so we've got this coming Sunday's a running day. I won't be there. I've got a wedding on Saturday to go to, and I'll be packing up from that wedding on the Sunday, which is going to be fun. And then there's all the setup, and that's sort of why I haven't done anything on the roller lately, is because we've been getting stuff ready for the wedding. So it's so it's a little bit crazy, but I mean, as much as hard work as it was, are you glad you done it? I mean,
oh yeah, it's a fantastic weekend. but it's not just the weekend. It's about 3 months leading up to it, and so much stuff we've done, like flashing light mounts for the Land Rover and slow vehicle ahead signs and toolbox stowage, and then of course you've got to wire up the Land Rover so that the flashing light works, and there's just a crazy amount of work, and cleaning and sorting the roller out and getting everything ready to go, cutting and buying or whatever firewood, and sorting out water and boiler treatment and logistics of staying at the hotel and all those sort of things. So it's a pretty big effort to do it, and anyone who wants to come along and spend some time, Northern New South Wales, Northern Rivers, Grafton Way, you're welcome to take out some responsibility and some jobs on, because it's been a big week.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is too, you know, next time you go to do it, you won't be doing half as much because you've already done most of that stuff. You just got to do.
Yeah, that's true. There'll be an increased list. We've got an injector that doesn't quite pick up, which is the water delivery system. And that's because someone may or may not have caught the winch rope hook on the injector pipe at some point recently, which we probably don't want to talk about.
Okay.
These are things that happen late in the afternoon when you're tired. So I've just priced a new injected nut and tail, which is a special thread, of course. It's not just standard pipe fittings.
Yeah. Where did you price that from?
Richard Metcalf in the UK.
Right.
38 quid for the parts and brass.
That's all right.
Yeah, and about £40 postage.
Well, that's not too bad.
It's not terrible, I thought so.
Yeah, Brad's just asked a
How
question.
many people? We had a crew of what?
So you had two on the roller, so you had a driver and steers person, then you had a person in a Land Rover.
Yeah, we all took turns, because there's no way you can steer the thing 50 kilometres on your own, and there's no way you can drive it that far on your own. Two in the Land Rover. We had a support vehicle in front, which is our mate Ken, who's actually got a black traffic control vehicle that he was driving, which is very nice. About all up about 6 or 7 to get it all sorted.
You could get away with 4 people, sort of thing.
You probably could, but you're sort of pushing it a bit. It's very nice to. It's very nice to have enough people to get the water lifter hooked up and the tender full of water on a blind corner in the middle of a country road before the next car comes along and stuff like that.
Yeah. Was there much opportunity for areas to pull over?
Oh yeah, it's a road that we travel.
Yeah.
Even I personally travel a couple of times a week at the moment.
Right.
And there's not a lot of traffic on it. Plenty of room to pull over, really, and the edges were dry enough to do that.
Yeah. How far were you going before you refilled?
About 5-6 kilometres. Depends whether someone tried to use the injector and it didn't pick up or not.
Yeah.
5 or 6 kilometres on the tank. But that's we stuck at 150 to 200 pound all the way. And that's notched back most of the way, except on when it starts to labour a bit on the hills. A lot of it was downhill. You've got to select reverse fairly regularly.
Yeah.
But good run, really. and a couple of gully crossings and steep hills and corners and all those sort of things. So I don't believe the town water's real good. We were foaming a bit, and we
Right.
did prime a couple of times on one tank. But I guess we filled the tender probably 6 or 7 times.
Mm-hmm.
And the water lift is definitely the way forward with that.
Yeah.
Rather than messing around with a pump, it's just 3 minutes, you know.
Yeah.
And it'll pick up at 50, 60 psi. So
Yeah. It should work. The higher the pressure, it should work better.
yeah, but if you just raise steam, you could fill the tender at 50 psi, which was a bit of a surprise actually, because we hadn't really ever done that before.
Mm.
But that's good.
That's great. For those of you still watching, a water.
It's bored the lot of you.
Oh well, we're down to 3 people at the moment, so probably
Don't blame them.
Roger, Brad, and somebody else. I don't know, but so just to explain, a water lifter is a device that's fitted to most steam traction engines and steam rollers. It uses the steam from the boiler to create a suction, so you could pull up beside a stream and suck water out of the stream, so you could continue on, with not much interruption. But yeah, so well, I think things went, from what I've seen in that video, things went pretty well.
Yeah, I think we did really well actually. I've had a lot of worse operating days, to be honest.
Mm.
And it's starting to look shiny and clean again, which it
You
wasn't
didn't,
for a while.
You didn't lose any lubricators? They didn't vibrate loose or anything like that?
None of the. I've been through most of them. We've got a right hand side big end that needs some attention.
Yeah.
I pulled the left hand side one out because last road run we did, it got hot, and took like 15 thou something out of it. And the other one needs doing too because it's got a bit of a knock. But apart from that, we never had oiler problems at all.
I'll just thanks, G. Yeah, mate. You get your dinner and sort the dog out, mate. And come, if you're still here, come back. Thanks for your support. So, Brad's asking a question. So I'll let Emma explain that.
Oh my gosh, I'm supposed to know all this because I'm sitting my boiler attendance exam in the next month or 2.
Well, I'll just explain to Brad that when we talk about foaming, water does some funny things when you put it under pressure and start boiling it. It's got to do with all the impurities in the water, how hard it is or soft. Believe it or not, water can be hard and soft. Yeah, Emma, you take it away.
A lot of that's to do with the surface tension on the bubbles as it boils. So if there's more surface tension on the bubbles that boil out of the water, then the bubbles get bigger, so they take up more space for the amount of steam you've generated. So you have less like actual steam gap in the top of the boiler that's usable. And what you'll find is that even though the gauge is reading a standard sort of normal level, the distance or the amount of steam in the boiler that's actually available to be used is a lot less, so that when you open a regulator on a hill or you give it a bit, you're going to find that you're going to get water out through the cylinder, which creates shock and all sorts of things. Not so much on a roller because the cylinder's all like heated and it's steam heated, and it's all like the passages go through the casting rather than just down pipes like on a locomotive. And there's not the inertia on a roller either. So like on a locomotive, you've got 500 ton behind it that's going to break something if you fill it up with water. But a roller will just basically stop. But what happened there?
Don't know.
Anyway, I'm back.
Yeah, no, you didn't disappear.
happened. Don't know
No,
what that is.
you're all good.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
Something's
all
wrong.
fine. No, nothing's wrong.
I found the problem.
Right.
There we go. So that's things that you've got to worry about with the difference between, say, tank water or rainwater and town water, is that the town water is going to have problems like that. It's also going to be you're not going to get the motion or the turbulence around the side of the boiler. Convection, I guess, when you heat up the firebox, you're only heating the bottom really, and the convection moves the boiler, or moves the water around the boiler, and that's what distributes the heat. What you find with hard water is that doesn't work quite as much. So you've got to blow down quite regularly to keep that turbulence moving to heat the boiler all the way through.
The other advantage you have when you're on the road, with a traction engine or a steamroller in our case, you've got that surge of the water going back and forth all the time and whatever else.
Yeah, well, that sort of is a mixed blessing, yes.
Yeah.
Because if you come up over the top of the hill and it sort of looks like you've got plenty of water, and you stop suddenly at the top and point downhill, and you discover that there's no water at all in the glass in about 5 minutes when it stops rocking, it's probably nearly too late.
Yeah. Were you working? Did you have the eccentric pump on much? That's what you relied on.
The eccentric pump, yeah, sort of 5 minutes on, 5 minutes off.
Right.
Most of the trip, it's just a valve, so it's a very simple thing to turn on and off, and it's reliable. It has sprung a few leaks around the glands and the connections that it never had when we started, but that's normal.
But that was enough to maintain your water on the road while you're going, all
right? Pretty much. It kept 3/4 of a glass all the way, and at between 150 and 200. The trouble is that with the roller in particular is that it's quite a big engine at quite a high pressure, but it's only a very, very tiny boiler. It's only there's 3 barrel loads of water in it, really. So what you find is that...
How much you reckon's in there?
Oh, no, it's not. That's exaggerated. The area is 900 litres.
Right.
But it holds probably half that, so it's probably 450, 500 litres maximum, I would say.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of water in there for the surface area on the grate, and for the amount of horsepower, the amount of, like, the pounds per square inch on the rocket clock, sort of. So it's fairly important to keep your water level pretty critical to get your maximum amount of the boiler. But it's also little things like hard water or whatever tend to make a huge difference.
Yeah. Yeah, well, when I used to drive the trains down to Dreamworld, because I worked there for a while, they had a water softener, but it broke down at one stage. So one of the drivers, he got me to go to the restaurant and get some caustic soda, and we put caustic soda into the tender to soften the water that way.
How did that get on?
Yeah, that didn't seem to have any problem.
Yeah, well, it might be worth the trouble. Back in the day, questions for Brad.
Yeah.
How many litres to get going? You need about a ton of water all up to get going. Back in the day, they have a support crew in wagons. No, not really. I imagine that a roller crew might have been 3 people.
Yeah, usually because a roller would work a certain section of the road of whatever they were contracted to do. So they would, it could be maybe a mile of road they might have to roll or something like that, or half a mile or whatever the situation was. And there'd be the roller, he'd have his water cart and a living van. And from what I understand is most of them, there was a husband and wife team, and they had probably had a child or two with them, and they went from district to district, rolling roads as they went. That's back in the day. I can still remember my father many years ago. I was only a kid, but there was an advertisement in either the Telegraph or the Courier Mail. Rockhampton was still looking for people to come and drive the steamroller, because they were still using steamrollers up in the late 70s. That was, I think. So yeah, and that's Rockhampton is where they have another version of my steamroller. It's not a bad historical museum. If you're ever up that way, go and have a look at. They've also got a nice big 12-ton Marshall steamroller, which is a big roller when you stand right next to it.
Yeah, 12-ton, a designated 12-ton roller is a big machine.
Yeah.
12 tons, a big roller, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's for sure.
Mine's officially 10, and it's not. It's more like 14 and a bit.
Mm. So, what's next on the agenda?
What's next? Fixed injector. Put a guard around it so the winch rope goes past it.
Yep.
Motion covers on the engine. Some paint.
Any fire bars?
Maybe some fire bars. Yeah, I've got the fire bars all drawn out in DXF and sent through to the laser cutter in Cooper's Plains today. So I'm waiting for a quote on that.
Did that drawing help at all that I sent those two?
Exactly what I wanted. It's sort of a confirmation. I've got a fire bar. I brought one back with me. There's one of them was a fabricated steel one.
Yep.
So I brought one back. It's probably pretty good, and it's the one that's lasted a lot longer than the others, I think, probably. I don't know when they sort of fire bars did it last, but they were pretty cracked and very rotten, really.
Yeah, they do those cast iron ones. That's what happens. Even the ones we got in Marion, nicely twisted. So when the time's right, I'll get a new set of steel ones cut for it.
So I'll get them cut up, and then they're just welded top and bottom.
There's spacer bits you're going to weld those on?
Yeah, just sit them all together and run a clamp on them and V them out and weld along the top and weld along the bottom. There's not much to them.
No.
The good thing about laser cutting and stuff nowadays is that you can just cut them to the size or the shape rather than have to worry about cutting corners off bits of flat and stuff.
Yeah.
Pretty hard work.
Yeah. I mean, even laser cutters or even water jet cutters. I mean, you can get almost within. I think what the tolerance is something like 0.5 mil or less.
No, it's better than that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like 10, 15 thousandths of an inch.
Yeah. One video I watched was they got some new gears water cut in the UK for a traction engine, and then they still got a machine, which I found really strange because
it's because if it had been a Fowler, they wouldn't have even been filed up from the factory, probably.
Yeah. So
another job we did was tighten up all the bolts on the basically the axle blocks on the horn blocks.
Mm.
Found that there was probably a dozen loose bolts all up,
Yeah. Was
which I
that
think is
before or after the road run?
before.
Yeah.
So we went right through that. Haven't checked it since afterwards, but I don't think anything will come loose quite that quick. But I reckon it's a while since they were done. Mostly because they're rotten place to get to,
Yeah.
especially on the right, on the right hand side under all those cars and
Mm.
gears and things.
Mm.
But anyway,
Yeah. So
it's a lot worse now because it's got about half a kilo of crater grease in it.
What is this crater grease? What?
It's locomotive gear grease is bitumen based, which is used for greasing heavy industrial gearboxes.
Oh, okay, right.
Mostly nowadays it comes in little plastic bags all sealed up, and you just throw a plastic bag in and close the lid real quick,
Yeah, right.
which is the smart way to do it. But Ian Mills had a drum of it. It's Texaco or Shell or whatever. Crater 2, which is a bitumen based grease.
Is it a
But
lithium base or what is it?
it's bitumen based.
Sorry?
It's bitumen based,
Oh, right.
like roadway based. So
Yep,
it's bitumen. It's treacherous stuff. We had it in an ice cream container with inside 2 or 3 plastic shopping bags, and you sit it down on the running board and it tips up and on its own accord because of the center of gravity. You scoop it to the top of the container before it tips up, and then it runs everywhere. And I lost my temper with it completely and had it everywhere. It's just awful stuff, really. It's like something out of the X-Files, like seriously. It's migratory, and it's probably it's an alien-based life form, I think. But anyway, I'll lend you some. It's good stuff. You don't need much, but it's not just like I ended up just cutting a piece off the plastic bag where it had escaped to, and throwing that straight in the inspection cover in the side of the gear case. And that seemed to have worked. But I thought it was going to fall out in the concrete when the gear came round. But no, once it's on there, it's on there.
So Brad's asking, is it nearly like tar?
It is. It's very similar to tar.
So
on a hot day, it's...
So it goes without saying it sticks like a proverbial to a wet blanket.
Yeah, that's right. It's terrible stuff, and it's about the same consistency.
Mm.
It's like it's about the consistency and weight of a I'm gonna say this: fresh turned a pair of underpants. It's sort of that's probably the best mental image I can get you of the stuff in a plastic bag.
Yeah, no.
It's awful stuff. Like I've got seriously PTSD from using it, but we got some of it in there. And if you saw Christian's post, he got most of it over his face because he did the first driving skit.
Fair warning to anyone that goes on a steam traction engine or steamroller, you will get covered in oil. Don't wear your finest.
No, I was black, like seriously black, 3 days in a row. But it was quite a lot quieter with that. I think that made a big difference.
Yeah.
Especially the splines on the outside. You've got all new gears on there. Yours, so you should have less problems than we do.
I won't say they're new, but they're pretty bloody good, that's for sure. Then there is some wear in them. It's funny how there's wear in some, and yet others hasn't got any wear at all. It just can't sort of work it out. But anyway, it is what it is. The spider gears on the differential, they're flogged out in terms of on the shafts that they're, you know.
That, yeah, very similar.
Yeah, that's Sol. Sol is Funkin' Hungry's dog, and
Okay, poor soul.
yeah, poor Sol, poor old Sol.
But that it's kind of how it is. Yeah,
Mm,
it's awful stuff.
yeah.
Did your roller have a scarifier on it?
Yes.
Yeah,
At some stage, I don't know when, because
it doesn't help with the gears.
the strengthening bar was there. The 3 studs are there that are on the side, and it's got on the sand cover. It's got the thing for the scarifier. But in all the photos, I've never seen it, so I don't know when it was removed or what. But all the signs were there. Even the blowdown was mounted at the back of the boiler, underneath the foot plate, all that sort of stuff, not on the side because that's where it had the strengthening bar.
Yeah, right. So, yeah, that's a pretty treacherous thing to put back on a roller. I think I'm not a big believer in them being good things.
Yeah, well, I
hear horror stories of people going through shopping centre car parks and getting caught on speed humps with them and things like that, and
yeah.
week trying to remove them.
Well, even when it sat in the park at Alora all its life, there was no signs of the photos I've seen that people have provided me. There's no sign of the scarifier being there. So it must have been got taken off early in its life. I got a photo of it parked up when it was just freshly out of use, or about a year or so, and there was no sign of the scarifier then. So I don't know when it was taken off, but all the signs are there that it did have one on there.
Probably about the same time that the council bought a grader, I would imagine.
More than likely, yeah.
I've got the right-hand side hub is a scarifier hub on mine.
Mm.
That's the only indication that it might either have had one, but I think the tender's been rebuilt.
Yep.
And the other thing is that the wheels are off the Aveling, not off a Fowler, so I've got no idea.
Has Matt given you much information about it?
Matt's not. Matt's information stage is it's very, very, very short beer bandwidth. He's got to have just about the right amount to be lucid enough on it, but he doesn't know a lot. I did call Gary again today. Gary, oh my gosh, the guy who restored it. Anyway, he lives on Christmas Island, and he's actually in New Zealand at the moment. But he will have more information because we need some information for the boiler inspector. But I don't know very much about it. There's an article that this gentleman wrote for the Grenfell Times about steamrollers, but when you pay the $1 subscription or whatever to buy the edition of the Grenfell Times, it does explicitly say that his steamroller wasn't the one from Grenfell, and that was what I was sort of working on.
Right.
But there was it was locked under you had to pay money to read the article. But I believe it was from down in New England somewhere, because in the 1930s, only information I can find in the 1930s was that there was a roller was driven off a bridge down in southeastern New South Wales. and that was reported in the newspaper. That's all I can find. So I'm guessing that was the one because
Yep.
it's been driven off a bridge at some point.
And I suppose, do you think you'll ever find a set of Fowler rear rolls, or probably not?
Well, I've had people with a lot more money and financial stability and contacts than me looking for them for the last 30 years. I mean, Matt Yap had a pretty good look for them and couldn't find any.
Yeah, right.
I know where the traction engine front end that'd go on it.
Mm.
I don't really want to do that. I'd very much like a set of front and rear rolls for a Fowler for it, but it's part of its history now. It's like it would have only been 10 years old when that happened. So
Yeah. Do you know if there's much difference in size between the Aveling and the Fowlers?
A colossal amount more weight, I would imagine,
Mm.
in the Aveling wheels. But the main problem with Aveling wheels at the moment is that the right hand side diff lock pin is not fitted because it didn't line up.
Right.
So you've got a winch pin that someone's put in it.
Yeah.
But there's no diff lock on it, which is a bit of a treacherous thing on a dirt road. If you watch that video, that's why we're a little bit nervous about soft spots.
Mm.
It's because we only got drive on the left-hand wheel.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
It's got a diff, so they sort of work, but one of them starts going backwards pretty quick.
No, right, okay.
So at some point, when we pull that down for whatever happens, whether it's painting or whatever causes that to be pulled down, we're going to put rubber all the way around, vulcanized rubber, and we're going to set that up in a radial arm drill somewhere and put a hole for a pin that lines up with the diff wheel.
Mm-hmm.
Because it really needs a diff pin in it.
Yeah.
So that's the only real thing that I would change.
Mm.
I'm sort of thinking it's part of its history now.
Yeah.
But it's a bit of a job.
Yeah, like anything.
So when all that happens, it's $15,000, you know.
Mm.
To organise all that.
Oh, so you're going to take those current bits of rubber you've got on it off?
Yeah, terrible. Sorry.
Yeah.
Not really impressed. It makes it neither use nor ornament. It's all right on the road, but it makes it a big comfortable ride, but it's not any good for rolling anything.
Yeah.
And it's they're wearing out pretty well too. There's not a lot left in them really. So at some point we either need to make steel rolled rims to go on there and get them vulcanized, or get the wheels done.
Yeah, I think getting the wheels done would be the way to go.
Ideally, that's the way. There's a place at Toowoomba that does forklift wheels. They're more than happy to do them. Most of the money, though, is in mandrels to turn them.
Oh, okay.
Like to machine them. So there's as much money in making mandrels to put them in their lathe as there is in actual doing the vulcanizing.
Yeah.
And then there's as much again in getting them to Toowoomba and back.
Yeah. Well, when the time comes, maybe that's something people can help you out with.
Well, when it comes, we'll just do it. But we'll find a truck somewhere that's going that way, or take them one at a time in the van, or whatever happens.
Because you're looking at 1 ton, at least a ton per wheel.
Oh yeah, I'd say so. Probably a bit more, being Aveling wheels, not Fowler wheels. They're a lot heavier than yours.
Yeah, well, when I took mine off, mine the way they are now, and they're thin, I mean really thin, they're half a ton each.
Mm.
And what I can work out, because I've got 2 different drawings with the rear rolls, and there was a set of rear rolls that were 1 inch thick and another set that were 2.5 inches thick. So I'm pretty sure this one came out with the 1 inch thick rear rolls, and they've just worn down over time to the point where the casting's actually starting to
Mine are
crack in the
still
web. Sorry?
inch and a quarter or more. Mine are still
Yeah.
inch and a quarter or more.
Mm. No, mine are down to like half inch, maybe less, with the wheel wear and that.
Road work does that.
Yeah.
Bitumen roads.
So I got a bit of work to do. Whether I machine them to square them up, or I put plate on there or maybe just get them rubbered, get an inch of rubber put on them.
Well, anyone who you talk to says there's 2 schools of thought with rubbering.
Yeah.
There's people who put rubber on the back and say it's the best thing they ever done, and why would anyone put rubber on the front? And there's people who put rubber all around and say that they regret leaving it so long.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you would do all round, but it's a colossal job.
Yeah, well, look, honestly, I'm a couple of years away from that, from doing rubbering and things like that.
I think probably what will happen is that the boiler will get painted back to the ground sheet or the throat plate and the smoke box, and then we'll put cladding back on it, and the wheels will get a good clean up with high pressure water and some degreaser, and they'll probably get a wire reel and a coat of paint as well. And that's probably as far as we're going to go for a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think you, as much as you want to work on it, you got to draw that line of, working on it, but also using it for a bit of enjoyment. That's why you brought it.
Well, that's right. You need a machine you don't want it to show pony.
Yeah. And the other thing is, I know I've said this to you before, and I've said it to a few others. You start pulling one thing off, and then I'll pull this off.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Next thing, you've got a pile of bits on the ground, and you're going, what do I do now? Where do I start? And
it's not just that. You pull something off, you discover a problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's like pulling fire bars out yesterday and discovering that, or Sunday, and discovering that 3 out of the 5 of them are busted.
Well,
and the other ones probably only needs dropping on a hard spot, and it'll be the same.
Yeah, I think it's good that you pulled them out now after your road run, because just do it now. It's one thing to pull them out or go, I'll do that next time, and it just drags on and on and on.
From experience, the ash pan's a lot easier to get off when it's hot.
Yeah.
Right. That's a cold ash pan in a puddle of water it's going to be a puddle of water no matter what you do.
Mm.
But the cold ash pans, you can battle with it for hours.
Yeah.
But there's stupid little spoon clips that are on them.
Yeah.
They get stuck, but when they're hot, it all just falls apart. It took me 2 minutes to take the ash pan off.
Yeah, yeah. Did you put a little trolley jack underneath it or anything?
It's not that heavy.
Yeah, fair enough.
If you rake it out first, it's just each side. One thing I'm going to do, the damper connection has got a 1/2 inch Whitworth bolt in it and a nut.
Yep.
Going to find a like a clevis pin and like a clip lock pin or something to just make that easy to take apart.
Yeah.
The interesting thing about running a fire running on wood rather than on coal is that if you've got to drop a fire in a hurry, it's not a particularly fun job with that roller because you haven't got a lot of space and there's not a very big hole. And if you've just loaded the fire, there's not many bits that are actually going to go through the grate. So you've really got to lift a fire bar out and probably the ash pan off.
Yeah.
And having that so that that's something you can do really quickly is a very good thing.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. But hopefully, those
Well,
situations.
touch wood, that shouldn't happen, but it does happen remarkably quickly with a roller that you discover that it's been 5 minutes and there's really no water in the glass and the pump won't prime and you're on a bit of a hill, and I'm less concerned about it than I was when I first got it, but because I know where water levels and things should be. But it's very easy to overthink the situation and just drop the fire or rake the fire or start thinking about shutting the thing down.
Yeah. That's where, you as the owner, you got to make the decision and tell everyone else, like, this is what's going to happen. Regardless of if they think they know better or anything, goes, no, this is my engine, this is what I'm doing, get out of the way. And just do what you...
Thank goodness we have a crew that are very experienced enginemen, really. Very good operators, all of them. So, we all we're on the same page there. So if someone says, we've got to pull the fire, there's no question asked. We just do it.
Yeah. Lathe leveling, you done much of that in your time?
Yeah. It's a bit of an oxymoron. It's not really all you need to do is to get the twist out.
Yeah. I never really had... previously, the way I had the lathe set up previously was a bit of threaded bar with a bit of plate on the bottom here, and I only had 4 of those. But now I've got proper feet under the lathe.
Oh, flash!
Yeah. So I've got all 6 feet, and it seems way steadier than what it used to be.
Yeah, it'd be good.
And I went to Heron Falls the other day and lashed out.
Oh my gosh! Well, you're set.
But
it's probably not a bad level, that. And it's only a comparison tool. It doesn't have to be accurate.
Well, the guy said to me, he said, "Oh, you do know you have to calibrate these before you use them." I said, "Oh, no."
But it's easy. You just sit it on the bench and work out where it is, and then turn it around and make sure it's the same.
Yeah.
But honestly, all you need, all you're doing is making both ends the same angle. It doesn't matter if the lathe slopes forward 15 degrees. You don't want any of this.
Yeah.
So the more graduations, the better. But all you want to do is sit on one end of the lathe and work out where, or set it up so it's level.
Yeah,
and then move it down the other end, and if it's out, you change it.
It's got a fair amount of graduations in it, actually.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. So I'll just be... Yeah, there's a lot going on here at home at the moment. I've got a wedding on Saturday, stepdaughter's
Oh my
wedding.
gosh, yes, of course.
Oh boy, so
oh my gosh,
I'm not even going to get down the Petrie for the steaming day. In fact,
Oh, really?
yeah, I'm in the process of. In the process of making up a new handhold or mud hole door, because the old one, have a look at that.
Yes.
Do you like that?
Not well.
Can you see
Usually
all
where they break is no good me pointing, but it's at the end of the thread there.
Well, this one hasn't broken, but the problem is what was happening, the way it, when you see it in person, the video and photos I could send you just doesn't do it justice. What it's doing is actually squeezing the gasket and virtually cutting the gasket, and we had problems
Oh,
sealing
yes,
with
yep.
it. And so I got a bit of steel and I bent it up.
Oh,
One
nice.
of the other members, Mark, I cut this out, and he had a day off work, so he got to and just tacked it together and cleaned it all up, and made it so that the gasket that we got will go on. However, looking at the drawing I got for the Aveling, this is one that came with my roller, right?
Yep.
That was made in the UK. And
Yeah, right.
when you measure it up, this is identical. It's like 2 7/8 that way, 3 7/8 this way, 2 7/8 that way. It's supposed to be 3/4 on here, and of course this bit here just stops the gasket from flopping around all over the place. So this will actually go on my roller, but the problem
Will
was,
it go in? Have you tried it?
I did get it into my roller the other night,
Okay. Yeah,
but
good.
this bit here was actually too big, slightly too big. So he's now made it so that this gasket here goes over and goes on nicely.
Oh, yep.
Right. So tomorrow I'm going to whip down and see if that'll go in Marion and sort our problem out. If not, I've got a new start. I just got to drill a hole to go in here and weld it in place and be done.
I've got one to do this week too. For the
Um,
Roby.
and I'll what I might do is I might just wrap this up here, and we'll talk off screen. So thanks everyone for joining us here tonight, and sorry about the audio issues first up, but we'll get that sorted out. I'll get a bit more professional. I'm not going to do a little countdown timer. I'm just going to end it right here now. Thanks everyone. Appreciate the support. Catch you next time.